intention to be paid to that in your view, sir?
No. There's a rookie contract slated in where it is.
Yeah.
You know, Drew represents many of the prominent players in the league. So,
yeah,
not a surprise there. He's got an eye for talent. And now Greg Newsome is in his stable.
There you go. Gibby points out that it's a big week for Milestones. Jurassic Park Mountain Theaters 28 years ago today. The Goonies debuted in theaters 25 years ago Tuesday. Joe Montana, who's 65 years young, in a second. I also, this is the 40th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, and 39th of E.T. This is a
39th of E.T. Boy.
What a powerhouse.
Spielberg going, how about Spielberg goes, Raiders, E.T.
Yeah, not bad.
That's pretty good.
I have a hard time believing this, and I know that it must be factually accurate, but something about this doesn't feel accurate to me, that Goonies came out after Jurassic Park.
That seems impossible, in fact.
Given the size of
Are you sure you have this right, Gibby?
I don't believe it. Must be 35.
I feel like 35 for Goonies. Like Goonies feels like mid-80s to me.
Yeah, I was not 25 years ago.
I was a little kid.
Right, was 96. Goonies came out well before I graduated from high school.
I would say Goonies is 35 years old, Gibby.
That's my guess. That's my
guess.
Hold on. Hold, please.
Yeah, it has to be, because I was a little kid. I remember, VHS, Goonies, VHS.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park was not a VHS.
1985.
That's a DVD.
85. So
Okay.
we're not even.
So,
yeah, so
we're
that would
36 years.
36. 35 may have been, it should be 36, given that we're in 2021. That's okay.
Yeah. It's all right.
As my mom
These things
says,
happen. Good catch out of you.
As the official Nana says, it's not about the details, about did you communicate your point. The Goonies came out a long time ago, and we all love it. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
We got that.
We did. Both of those are great. They're absolutely fantastic.
I love Goonies.
I do too. Is it appropriate for the kids? I haven't seen it in
I've
years.
watched it with my kids. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, there's obviously.
Did they like it?
Yeah. Loved it. Oh, yeah. Come on, you got pirates.
It's a heck of an adventure.
I think one of the biggest misses ever was I thought that there needed to be a Goonies ride, if not even a park, where you go down these natural water slides and shoot out into a big
oh my gosh
pool of water with a pirate ship in it. I mean, am I wrong? Like, how did that never come to be?
You're not wrong, Walter. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. The amount of fascination that people and I think I speak for people our age, had with water slides.
Oh, God.
It's hard to even comprehend. I mean, the idea, the first time I saw one, we would drive, I remember, like, as a kid growing up, like, in Montana, the closest, in Edmonton, Alberta, is the largest indoor water park in the world. Okay, is in Edmonton, Alberta. It's 4.5 hours north of where I grew up. And I remember, like, that's where we went on vacation for the chance to go ride the water slides.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just to do it. Like, that's all you needed was that. I mean, that's all I wanted to do was ride water slides. And it was prominent in pop culture because Bill and Ted water slides were prominently featured. Goonies water slides were prominently featured. Like, you just couldn't wrap your head around, wait a second, I've been on a slide, but now you're going to put water behind it? This seems like the best time ever.
Because it was. So when I was a kid,
that's right.
When I was a kid, we would go to Manteca, California, which in my childhood mind, easily well over an hour drive from where we were, maybe a little more. And we would go to the water slides. That's what we call it. We're going to the water slides. And it was an awesome water slide park. And you basically, the way it would go is you'd get in this big queue, and if however many people got to go at a certain time got to go, and you got like a color mat. So you were the blue mats, and then you got to roll while the blue mats were rolling. Then as soon as the flag came up and no more blue mat time, you were out and you had to get back in line. But that kept it so that you were never really waiting. And I think that's where that's maybe where they've lost some of it, is that in the waiting. And they had other activities. That's the park that had, I remember I talked about this a while ago, but I don't know if it was how long ago it was, if it was 25 or 35 years ago. But they had for a time at this place. So they would have like batting cages. They would have, wave pools, lazy rivers. They had even if you weren't on your water slide time, there's still plenty of stuff to do. They had the coolest thing ever, though. It was this giant kind of fenced-in area, and I don't know how they even did it, but they converted some type of a vehicle into a tennis ball tank. So it was one person would be the driver, one person would be in the turret, which would swivel 360 degrees and launch tennis balls at a very high rate of speed. And there were two tanks in there.
Humans?
No, 2 tanks, and you would have like a tank battle. Depending on where you shot them, like things would go off. It was.
What age were you driving these tanks?
I mean, this is in
Like 12?
Probably. I was always the gunner. Pedro would drive.
Of course.
Those things, I will tell you, made it about one summer, and then I'm sure something bad happened, and they were not brought back. But so Manteca was cool, and then they made a place called Raging Waters, which was just a water park. My mom almost got thrown out of there. She had a fight with a lady one time at Raging Waters trying to get in on a price. There was a question about prices, and my mom, for a very sweet caretaking lady, if she goes overboard, it's like the way that Ralphie describes his dad when he's fighting furnaces: profanity-laced tirades, utter just complete bedlam. So I didn't know we were going to get in, but that's when they introduced some of the speed ones with the big vertical drops and the humps, and so that place was really, really cool. I even think Geauga Lake for a while before they tore it down out here. They had a triple on a platform. One was purple, one was a lime green, and one was teal, that were all in closed tubes that were fast and those are some of my favorite ones. There's nothing better than on like a nice hot day, get a little banged up with the boys and going and sliding around town.
The best.
Nothing better.
And it is timeless. Last year when I was on the Buckeye Cruise, they had one of those private islands down there that has the highest enclosed water slide in North America. And it was all these Buckeye guys, and then I was involved with it. But like the narcoleptic AJ Hawk and me and Bobby Carpenter and Herb Street and Joey Galloway and all these guys are racing. We're like little kids racing up and down slides. And guess what? It was great. The best.
At the Mrs. wedding, which she got married at the Ocean Club, which is next door to the Atlantis. So it's a one and only property at the time. Mm-hmm. So we were at the Atlantis for like the hang, and Atlantis they've got the cool slide that goes down through the shark tank. They've created this whole water park, which has the least lazy river of all time. I've definitely told that story. Bruises, broken bones, blood everywhere. Insane. I can't believe, honest to God, and I mean this all sincerity, and I'm so glad it hasn't happened because I know it would have been a major story. I'm flummoxed, happily so, that no kid has ever perished on this lazy river. It is anything but lazy.
Lord.
It is rapids, boulders, ludicrous. But they have on the backside of this kind of temple where they have the huge slide that shoots you down through the shark tank, they have 2 side by side. And we basically took this thing over and said, nobody else is riding these slides for the next hour. Of course, you'll love this. Bracketed up a 16-person bracket and crowned a water slide champion. Now, there will be those who would say that
I'm guessing
my starts were bordering on legality, but we're all starting, and I was, a natural starter. So what do you want from me in the water?
What did I do? I think that I'm sure that you pushed
Best
right
time
to the
ever.
edge.
Yes, of course. That's what performance is. That's what performance is, pushing the edge of the envelope. But water slides are great. Like if you said to me right now,
we're at a bad time.
We don't need to do this show today. Let's go to a water park. Like there's nothing.
Let's go.
I would go in a second. I can't. I love water slides. I love them. I think they're the best.
Is Cedar Point have a decent representation now with their water slide situation, or what's the best one around here now without Geauga Lake?
I don't know. I'd love somebody to tell me. Tweet us up. I want
There's Kalahari that's out there that's
but that's indoors. That's no. I need the stuff, the business. Though actually I went to Geauga Lakes.
There's got to be one at Cedar Point.
Cedar Point.
If you're willing to make the drive and head down south toward Uncle Beau's former establishment,
yes,
Zambezi Bay is a spectacular
outdoors
water park. Outdoor water park. It's
about.
Part of the zoo.
Okay.
At the zoo.
All right.
It is.
Yeah, they've expanded that. I know they've expanded it.
All right, I would check that out in a second. Now the Cedar Point one, honestly, given the gravitas of what's happening next door relative to, it is not relative to water slides as Cedar Point is relative to roller coasters. It is not. That it is not.
Okay.
They have the ones where you stand there and they drop you through, which are pretty cool, but like they're not great. I would say the most terrifying water slide I've ever been on in my life was in Puerto Vallarta. They called it the tallest, fastest water slide, blah, blah, blah. You go on. First of all, they were going to disallow me due to age, which I was, because I was too old. That's how dangerous they felt this thing was. So
too old.
Miss K was like, he's 35. Sure. 30, that was the cutoff. What a cut. 35 is
my
the
uncle?
cutoff? Like, what is this? So
35 is the cutoff.
Yeah, what a
on.
weird age cutoff.
Got a great ticker.
Right. Come on.
Yeah.
40 is the new 20. Everybody knows it. And so we went.
Come on,
you go
man.
on the top of this
Incredibly
slide.
fit.
You go on top of this slide, and it is straight down. It does not look great. I did it. It took me a while to get going, and be honest. I had a little paralysis for a second there. But then, boy, there we go. You're going so fast, and it arcs back and shoots you up into this kind of lagoon bay. When you hit the water, it's painful. Like, you hit the water, and you're moving at a great rate of speed, and you jump. It hurts the old tuchus. Now, the interesting part about it is when you get on it, and as I said, this was the tallest, scariest water slide I've been on. As you're about to get on it, you turn around, you look up, and you go, oh, this slide used to be about another 200 feet up. Boy, what happened? I posed the question. Why is it no longer? Why is it no longer 200 feet?
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
You know what I was told?
Oh.
We're not allowed to discuss it.
Oh.
So, methinks something bad happened.
Yeah.
And by the way, if going any faster than
Didn't
I
end
was
well,
going,
Coach.
no thanks. I like a good thrill, but I also like to survive.
I can take any of the drops. The straight down ones are fine. I like there's a coffin one that I was on at that place in the Caribbean where it was the same thing. You get in the coffin, 3, 2, 1, drop, except it was like 8 stories up. So you would drop for like 30 feet and then hit a slide, and then it was straight down from there. So, I mean, just a rocket launch. But the one that I rode there that was the worst was the tallest one. They are advertised. I want to say it's the tallest one in North America. And it goes. The problem with it was it's all enclosed because you're so high up, but it's just around the whole thing all the way down, and you go so fast. But the real problem is you take on so much water.
Yeah, that's not okay.
And you feel claustrophobic, like you're going to drown, like because you can't ever get air.
That's
like
not
you're
good.
in this tube forever. No, it was brutal. That one was a little brutal.
I like the enclosed ones, like a Geog Lake. They were enclosed, they were dark, and they're super fast, but they got the water ratio right, so you were never getting in your face. But what I love about those is when you really get spinning, you no longer, your body doesn't have a sense if you're going up or down, and I love that kind of disorientation, and it's like, I'm just going fast, and it's going to spit me out eventually.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
I could
like
go for
that.
a water park right now.
No
I'm
one's
actually
ever had
like,
a bad time. The best.
I'm jonesing.
I'd go with you. We'd have the. I mean, I can. I got a bulging disc, but I mean, in a normal circumstance,
listen,
I would. We'd have transformative turkey. It'd be great.
Put a picture of a water slide park on your mirror every morning. That's going to be your motivation to unbulge this disc.
That'll be my motivation.
Yeah,
we'll get it there. We'll get it sorted out. The Ohio Lottery Keep It Fun poll. Are we doing the pizza today, Gibby? Chicago, New York. What's Detroit style? How's it different? What's that? Is that what they take the cheese all the way?
There we go.
Huh?
Yeah, only if you had an on-air
Are you
light.
praising yourself for getting your microphone on?
Yep, I did.
Nice.
It's been that kind of day already, kids. So Detroit is the square.
Goonies was out 6 years ago. Go ahead.
Just came out. I loved it.
Just saw it.
Heyman Feldman are like Benjamin Button. It's crazy.
All this. Like we weren't live on YouTube. I had to scramble to get that done.
It's Friday,
pinchers
buddy.
of power.
Don't worry about it. Be safe.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Goonies came out last week. #1 at the box office. Great.
Yeah.
Just way to run it back. Way to run it back. Beau's burn.
Yeah.
Detroit, originally baked in a square automotive parts pan in the 40s. So it's a square. It's a little. It's thicker.
It's thicker,
but it's not.
and it takes the cheese all the way, right? Like the cheese becomes part of the crust.
Let's stop with these others. Let's stop with everybody trying to have a style.
It is a caramelized cheese perimeter. Sauce is then spooned over the cheese. Extra crispy crust that is tender and airy on the inside. The other ones, like there's a St. Louis style.
Like
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
You have your Sicilian.
This is what I think. I think there's New York pizza, which is pizza, and then everything else is off of that.
New York pizza is the closest, although the slices they don't do
It's
in
pizza.
Italy. They don't do giant triangle slices. You get one pizza that is for you, that you do what you want with typically. And it was the birthplace of pizza, Naples. You can go to the place that the restaurant that first made a pizza is still there. And they only had two. They had a margarita, and then they had one that's just the bread, olive oil, and oregano. Those are the two pizzas that were on. That was it. That's the only two pizzas on the menu. But there's New York is a bigger kind of, if you think about an Americanized version of Italian, which Sicilian style, or that's it. That's what that is pizza. I mean, this Chicago stuff. We're just trying to get creative and trying to create a variation off of something that, frankly, is already perfect.
Is it as simple as New York versus Chicago style?
If we're calling it from America, yeah, sure. But there's pizza, and then there's weird things.
How about
we're trying
New
to do in
York
the pizza
or everybody
genre.
else?
Yeah, New York or anything else.
How about if you New York or anything else? If you could have one pizza for the rest of your life, New York style or everything else?
I'd put New York / Italian, so people aren't trying to say, oh, well, I want a real Italian margarita pizza.
Fine.
But same.
There he goes, trying to sway the
New York
audience.
/ Italian
the audience.
Here,
or everybody else.
Hey, Jerry,
I think that's fair, Jimmy, because you have
Neapolitan listed as like a different style.
You have Neapolitan on there, so I think that's fair. All right, so there you go.
So what is it?
So we'll get
New
that
York
up.
style and Italian? What am I doing?
Pizza or gimmick weird crust pizzas.
Chicago deep dish is a pizza,
No,
damn
it's
it.
not.
It is.
It's not.
No,
It's
it's
a casserole.
not. It's a giant
It's a casserole.
blob
No,
of
it's
bread.
not a casserole. You are offending
It's a
Chicagoans
casserole.
everywhere.
It's a bread bomb.
No, I'm not.
No, it's
You
just,
are.
I'm
I
not
believe
saying it's
you
not
are.
good.
They
I'm
just-
just saying it's not pizza.
They didn't even need to call it pizza. Right.
It's
A calzone
You made a
is a
casserole.
pizza folded up into a pie,
right.
but you call it a calzone because
perfect.
it's different.
Yeah.
Just call that different. This is
One of my
bread bomb.
One of the things that's quickly becoming one of my favorite weekly traditions on this show is us giving the poll, reading it out, and then Gibby going, now what am I doing? And then repeating opposite of what we discussed. That's
Yes.
one of my favorite
That's
things
exactly what's going on.
Now, what are we doing? I don't even remember.
No, because it changes
York
30
/
seconds
Italian
in when Zegura
or
goes, I
everything
want to add
else.
this addendum, but I want to add this.
He does like
in
addendums.
Article 15E.
All right, here it is. This is it. Your Ohio Lottery Keep It Fun poll. You can have one type of pizza for the rest of your life. New York / Italian
which would be Sicilian
or
Neapolitan.
everything
Yes,
else.
Correct. Anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Or anything else. So that puts in Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, any other city that wants to act like they have a special pizza. There you go.
That's right.
And if you're obsessing over something like football can be a problem. If you're obsessing over gambling, it can be dangerous. So do something to take your mind off it. Find a hobby, perhaps. If you want some tips, go to keepitfunohio.com for great ways to keep gambling fun. We will go around the sports world coming up. We've got a mailbag for you. All sorts of fun. Off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. that's undefeated.
This guy's good. I hope he goes on someday to have more success than Rebecca Blair.
It'd be nice if he had a hit or two. Maybe this will be a bit of a jumping off point for him.
Find a
He
secret
can have
garden
a little
someday.
bit of a career. Would be nice if he could pull it off. We've all been cooped up in the house a lot more this past year. It's finally getting time to get back outside, grilling on the patio, sitting around the fire on a nice spring evening, putting your feet up, just enjoying being outside, maybe even taking your laptop out and working from outside in the backyard. Well, instead of sitting on those beat-up folding chairs, how about real patio furniture that's going to last for years? If you're looking for that, and you should be, go to Northeast Factory Direct. They've got outdoor sectionals, dining sets, fire pits, loungers, everything you need. You're going to get everything that you need for a whole lot less. That's the deal here. You're going to pay a lot less. You're going to pay at the other stores. Each of the 3 stores in Cleveland, Euclid, and Macedonia is stocked. They've got the best deals on outdoor furniture. Stop in, check it out for yourself. You won't be disappointed in the quality or the selection. You can, of course, shop it online anytime at northeastfactorydirect.com. Go around the sports world. A couple items this week. College football going to a 12-team expansion. You guys have seen The Wire, right?
The show?
Yeah. The Wire is very similar to the College Football Playoff Committee in that they're both cartels. So there's you remember the line where he goes, you don't know what you're going to get. If you follow the money, you don't know what you're going to get. That's the College Football Playoff Committee. Follow the money. You don't know what you're going to get. Like 3 years ago, they said, we're not going to add no more than 4. 4 is it. Well, now 12. Well, why stop there? Why stop there? Get to 64. Why stop at 12? What's the point? I think they there's a lot of questions to this. A big risk they're running is the fact, I think that it could be beneficial and that more teams will get at-bats. But the big risk they're running, and I think they've got to check themselves, is if they are going to start this thing New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, they are going to be going head-to-head with the NFL because it's a 4-week playoff now, guys.
Yep.
It's a 4-week playoff. You don't want to do that. So they got to start this thing in December. They need to have the semifinals. They've got to find a way to be around New Year's Eve. If you want to play the final on January 7th, that's fine. The NFL is going to be at 18 weeks by that point anyway.
Sure.
But you can't be going all January with this nonsense. That ain't going to cut it. You're going to lose week in and week out to the NFL.
So my original thought on it when I was thinking that you needed to expand it beyond 4 so that there are other teams that had a chance to get in. I always thought 8 was a good number. First of all, it's a natural tournament format number. 12 is not. So what are there going to be, buys?
4 teams are going to get buys. The highest 4 ranked conference champions are going to get buys.
Yep.
The 6th highest ranked conference champions will take our automatic bids. So 6 conference champions, that tells you that a group of 5 conference champion is going to get in. So that opens up to a big can of worms because there could be a team with 3 and what if, one-loss Cincinnati, who's ranked 12th, loses to 4-loss SMU, and there's nobody else in the MAC or one of the other conferences ranked. Well, all of a sudden you're going to have a 3-4-loss team playing against 5th-ranked Penn State and Happy Valley. Like, do we need to see that?
No.
Right.
My thought with 8,
and some of that could happen.
You just brought up potentially an issue with what I was going to say was that you have the Power 5 conferences, right? So you have the 5 conference champions, and you have the 3 best teams that are not a Power 5 conference champion. So you have a tournament of 8.
They should have done 8. The simple way to do it was to go 8 and have the first round at home sites.
Yes.
1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. Top 4 seeds host, and then go to, from there, a semifinal and a final at the big bowl sites because they're never going to give up on the bowls because the bowls treat administrators really, really good. So that's why they're not. It's a bit of a mess. It's really clumsy, but it's money. And the thing that not a whole lot of people are talking about is, unlike in the NFL, college football, the gate matters significantly. It matters in the NFL too, but not to the extent it matters in college football because at a place like Ohio State, the television contract certainly is nice. It's great. They make $50 million a year from the TV deals that they get. But 103,000 people at every game pays for rowing, pays for
everything else.
Water polo, volleyball, all the sports that don't make money. And Ohio State's got about 34 sports that don't make money. They only have 2 that do. So that's the tricky part. And they got to make up a lot of money. And that's what this is about. It's about money and trying to make more of it. And you can hide behind student athletes. That's all nonsense. Nobody cares about any of that. It's how do we make more money? This is the way to do it. And they'll make a lot of money doing this. There will be a television interest for it. There will be no interest in anything else. from a college football standpoint. Bowls, all that will be gone.
Sure.
This will be all that matters.
Yeah, which is, and we've seen, I think, I mean, you would have to have been an ostrich with your head in the sand to not have seen the decline of the bowl system. I mean, it is, it's been, it's
done.
Every year it's more and more of a joke. People aren't playing. Nobody cares. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's gotten worse. Even the college football playoff, to be fair, the college football playoff isn't really working either because it's the same 4 or 5 teams that every year. So
that's why you need, that's why you need some more people in there.
So you got it. They're hoping that this will open it up to more teams. Well, more teams will get in, but I don't know if it'll change the result. My hunch is the same 4 or 5 teams will win it most of the time. Earlier this week at the U.S. Open qualifier at Brookside in the Lakes in Columbus, Ricky Fowler missed the cut and will miss his second major this year. He wasn't the only major golfer to qualify to miss. Former major champions Padraig Harrington, Keegan Bradley, Jason Duffner also missed the cut. Did you see the images of Ricky Fowler signing autographs in the dark, though, outside of down in Columbus after failing to qualify? Good job out of him.
He's a great human, and it's sad that it seems his game is just it's left him a little bit. It's sad to see.
Got married. He got married. That's usually, people say, "Oh, come on." No, it happens. When those things happen, it takes your. Jack Nicklaus has talked about this. That it's when that happened that you kind of there's other things in life.
Your focus becomes
pay
different.
Attention to those things.
And your time. Golf is an absurd time commitment. To be at the level that they are. Absurd.
And the other thing is for a guy like him, there's not a financial push to do it. He's made so much money that, it's not like he could not play for 5 years and be fine with the amount of money he's made in sponsorships.
Of course.
So,
he's still the
one last thing in the sport. Yeah, still is. One last thing in the sports world. Kyler Murray says he hasn't given up playing on baseball. Why do they insist on doing this? And Kyler was a dude. He wasn't like Russell Wilson, who was trying to make it work. Kyler was a dude. He legitimately could have picked, and he might be the starting center fielder for the A's right now if he wanted to be. But why would you? You're never going to do this. You can't do it at quarterback, man.
No, you can't. It's got to be a lifestyle. I don't know why. Guy's a pretty darn good quarterback. This is exciting.
Can't that be enough?
Right. Can we focus on that? They're in best division in football, top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah.
Just brought in, not to say that he's in his prime, but A.J. Green's there, right? You got A.J. Green.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins. They drafted Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk.
Yeah, they got weapons.
Could be exciting down there.
Yeah.
Not to mention.
Let's just maybe worry about that, man.
Not to mention they're in, the Valley of the Sun.
Is that area the biggest sleeping? Isn't it amazing to you? It's amazing to me that no one has built a sports dynasty out there based just on location. Most of the teams out there are middling and borderline stink. How has that not been a draw for great players in their prime to go live in the desert and play in those teams?
Because I do think
the Cardinals have historically been terrible. The Diamondbacks have the little stretch where they won it, but other than that, largely terrible. The Suns, you got to go back. They're good now, but it took them forever from Barkley to now.
Rex.
Right, and then who am I missing? Oh, the Coyotes.
I couldn't even
Nothing.
tell you anything about the Coyotes.
Nothing.
What I'll say is,
why not?
Because there's got to be a certain softness that comes with living there. When you're living in paradise, that doesn't put you in the frame of mind that says, I want to be a grinder. It says, let's go to Barrio Queen, let's have some tacos and a nice tequila.
I just am surprised it's not a destination. The Suns haven't become a destination for, hey, let's all get together and play on the Suns like they've done in Miami or L.A.
So with basketball, obviously L.A., but part of it is just they've been tremendously fortunate to have, if you take Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe, now LeBron, you have 5 of the 10, 12. Certainly if you have an all-time team, they're all on it.
Well, if you do, you could honestly, if you want to do that game, you could put the all-time Lakers team against the all-time rest of the NBA team, and it would be just as good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have.
So that's a little different.
It's different, but what
they have a history.
What great weather city has a real dynasty in sports? Miami had the Heat when LeBron was there, or when Dwayne Wade was with, Shaq again. The Florida Marlins had a couple good years.
You can attract people to those places. Well,
the Dolphins haven't been worth anything. The Bucks, other than Brady going there, haven't been worth anything. The Devil Rays, or now the Rays, had a good little stretch where they were competitive for a while. The Lightning have been competitive for a while. But I just think good weather places, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be.
The Dodgers have had a nice – it's not like the Dodgers have been dominant for the last 30 years.
No, but they've been really good for 30 years. They've never really been bad.
No.
They've only won the one World Series, but they've been really good for
and that's a sport where market dictates spend. More so than it's not a level playing field sport. They couldn't even sustain NFL teams for the longest time. The NFL was out of LA. How crazy is that?
No, they could sustain it. They just wouldn't build them stadiums.
Right.
So that's the problem there, is they just weren't going to build them any stadiums. They need Kroenke to write the check themselves. We'll do a little Last CBD coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. So nobody's ever had a bad time. I mean, that's a good job. To me, that feels like when Gibby walks into any establishment, that song should play.
Agreed.
Unlike
as opposed to like Norm. Yep, on any day, at any moment, when you walk in, hit it, that's what's playing. Yep, I like that. That's a good job.
Same.
Speaking of Gibby, be sure to catch the latest edition of the best podcast available. It's out today wherever you get your podcast by going to youtube.com/Browns. Rookie wide receiver Anthony Schwartz will join the Ibs boys on this week's episode. Time for a little bit mailbag on a Friday edition, a little Ask CBD. What do you have, Gibby? How are you?
Good, guys. Good. Now that everything is, I think, working.
Yeah.
I think we're good. Mics are on. YouTube is live. People are questioning the poll
Nobody's
right
listening.
and left. It's great.
Yeah.
We're good. Joe tweets at the program at Browns_Daily using the hashtag AskCBD. What is one specific instance in sports you would like to have a redo on, both as a fan and as a player?
As a
easy on player, senior year of high school, state semifinal game. I threw it 50 times a game, and we had a perfect practice in perfect weather the Friday before. Game was on a Saturday, and we woke up and it was 28 degrees and sleeting, raining sideways, and you couldn't throw it because it was muck and the ball weighed 65 pounds, and so I had to run, and we got beat 44-0. The end. I'd like to have that back. Be fun to play with good weather. That's my athletic one. Be fun to play in good weather.
As a fan, I want Kirk Gibson to just strike out.
Oh, sad.
And then the A's
So
win
sad.
that World Series for sure. If they just go out, dominate game
Well, they
one.
weren't the better team. I mean, that Dodgers team was a dynamo.
Oh, boy. So that's the sport. Because guess what? I mean, Joe never, happy birthday, Joe. He never lost.
He never let you down.
No, never let me down. So that would be that one. As an athlete, for me, I was my senior year in high school. I was in the NorCals for golf to get to go to the state tournament. We were playing at Alameda, and this course had something that I've never seen anywhere else. And tell me if you guys have ever seen this. You've both been on a lot of golf courses. So they would have drainage on the green, but like each green had a drain that was probably yay big. No, not maybe two golf balls could fit on it. Like cut into like a side of the green, or like in the middle and the back of the green, or in the front of the green. Like, but it was on the green. It was like a drainage. If it sloped back to front, there would be like one right at the front, kind of wherever the water would funnel off the green, and then it would go through a little drain, but very much in play. And it was like the 17th hole. I was absolutely in position to qualify. I hit my approach shot onto that green. Boom. Flush dunk right onto the sprinkler at the front of the green. It was a back to front slope green. Bounces like it lands on a trampoline over the green into water. And at that point, high school Nathan was not mentally capable of dealing with this stroke of
That's a lot to go.
misfortune.
You would.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So just
from a fandom standpoint, Chad Henne is still tough. I'd like to have that over.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
That'd be good to have. Be good to have that one over.
Zach Miller tweets at the show, best summertime grilled food. Sous videing first and finishing on the grill counts, he says in parentheses.
I mean, a great
There's so many.
ribeye on the grill is just always for me. That is a real treat. Although
That's undefeated. That's undefeated, but there's so many things that are.
It's all great.
I love ribs on a grill.
Of course,
there's
same.
nothing that I don't love on a grill. It all wins. I'll barbecue lobster. I'll grill lobster
Oh
tails.
boy,
I
yeah,
mean,
sure you will.
that's delicious. Like,
Yes.
I mean, it's all undefeated. It's a mindset, bud. I mean,
That's
it's a mindset. Grilling is a mindset. That's why I grill year round. I will
Same.
trudge out there in the snow. I have no issue. Fire it up. Let's get out there. Let's make it happen. I can convince myself in the 3 steps it takes me to get out there that it's summer, baby. Grilling's a mindset.
My grill is under, like, there's a part of the porch that has like an overhang on it because it's like a deck above the deck. And so my grill's out there all year round. There's no doubt. I grill 365. I mean, and
Yeah.
I will say I discovered something that I'd never had before, and I don't know if I ever will again unless I earn it as I did the first time. I had done something for somebody, and as a gift, they sent me that Snake River American Wagyu, Snake River Farms American Wagyu. And so
Sure.
one of the things they sent was like a 4-pound flank steak.
Ooh.
And I did that I sous vide it and then did it on the grill.
Sure you did. Come on.
Flank steak is coming up for me. If you have to do like for a group of people or you want something that's that flank steak is a darn good cut of meat.
There's a couple of things I'll tell you. A marinated flank is incredible.
Yep.
A hanger steak, a marinated
Love
hanger steak
sure.
is spectacular.
Flat iron.
A ribeye cap is spectacular. When you tie them, it's like a meat candy bar when you're done with that thing.
So
all of the juices.
My boy Dizio at Costco, they sell that.
Of course they do. What am I, hard at Costco?
I don't know. You shouldn't be. My mom.
2 minutes.
My mom heads out to your Costco quite a bit, as a matter of fact. She would call it her Costco.
God, can you imagine the moment when I run into Nana at my Costco?
Oh boy, that'll be a treat. We'll have to give you a photo so you have you can hold it up there. I'm guessing though she's probably there. She's probably there at the time either when you're getting ready for your Columbus show or you're on your Columbus show. She's early.
Oh, okay.
She gets after it early.
Smart.
In the day. Yeah,
Smart Costco shopper. Be there right when it opens. You cruise through. No big deal. Nobody sees you. Nobody's hurt.
She's done. But Nana's up at 4 in the morning. She's up. She's swimming. She's meditating, and she's on her way. She's got.
God bless her.
She's got no time for sleep. But yeah, my boy Dizio, dude, those rib cap steak. That is just. It's the best part of like a prime rib or the ribeye. Is the cap, and now it's like, oh, you want all the cap? That's all you want?
So
here,
just
we made it for you.
String?
Yeah.
Come on.
Ridiculous.
So the Browns rookies were going back and forth on social media debating best Star Wars movies this morning. Our good friend Anthony Schwartz, rookie wide receiver, put his up there. Travis Stone says big debate this morning amongst a couple Browns rookies. What are your thoughts on this list? Schwartz's movies, number 1, Empire Strikes Back. What? Number 2, The Last Jedi.
That's not a bad call at all.
3, A New Hope. 4, Return of the Jedi. 5, The Force Awakens.
I'm going to go Return of the Jedi. I'm going to go Empire Strikes Back 1. Then I'm going
Empire Strikes Back. That's like the second one. That's like Back to the Future Part 2.
No, wrong. You're wrong.
Here's the only flaw that nobody wants to talk about with Empire. So there's two things. First of all, I'm not the Star Wars aficionado you were. Star Wars for me was something that I saw. It was fine. But there are a bunch of movies I preferred more, like Indiana Jones I watched much more as a kid, and a bunch of others that were more important to me than Star Wars. I saw Star Wars once. It was good. It was fine. But this wasn't my cup of tea. But the two, real quick on Empire Strikes Back, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. There's no real end to it. Like it's a to be continued. So that in itself is as a standalone. It's a bridge to Jedi. So that's
but you get
tricky
the ultimate,
kind of as a standalone. The action is
and the
stunning.
cliffhanger.
And that's the next thing I was going to ask you. As I watched this with my kids, and because they knew who Vader was, the moment that meant so much to us as a kid meant nothing to them.
Which is nuts. Yeah, well, I mean, it's understandable, but yeah, it stinks. First of all, look, everything that happens on Planet Hoth
really good.
Is phenomenal.
Empire is nonstop action.
And you get the Yoda training. You get good action. It isn't formulaic at all. You know, you think they get with Lando in the Cloud City, it's all going to be good, and then Lando actually had no choice. He got here before you did. When they open that door and Darth Vader's there, you're like, what?
Yep. Wait.
So I thought that was the best movie. I would probably go Return of the Jedi second just because I was a kid at the time, so I love the Ewoks as an adult. I would say A New Hope, which is episode 4, would be second. Return of the Jedi third. Rogue One, definitely fourth. Outside the original trilogy, Rogue One to me is the best Star Wars movie by a wide margin. And then for 5, it's either going to be Revenge of the Sith. I have to get over the fact that Hayden Christensen is the worst ever. But that's the formation of Darth Vader, and the end it actually is really, really good. And then I'd say probably The Force Awakens, which is the first of the next 3. There's just no continuity. When they came out with these 3, It needed to be one person who just ran through it, had their vision, and did it. You had different directors, different feels on what Luke should be. Luke was hating what he was doing. It didn't make.
What's the first one of the most recent 3?
The Force Awakens, which was good. Episode
good.
7. That one was good. Yes.
Yeah, that one was good. I would probably go Jedi, Empire, and that one. And I think if you went to the middle ones that had Sith and all that, like if you just recast Hayden Christensen, just throw him out and get a real actor in there and get rid of the Jar Jar Binks nonsense. If you do those 2 things, they're pretty good. They actually hold up really well. And the rest of it's cast. Like Portman's great. Ewan McGregor's great. Samuel L. Jackson's great.
Yeah.
The villains are great. Like it's just Christensen is so bad.
You're not like sand.
It's almost
yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like Sofia Coppola in Godfather 3. Like, it's hard to get past. The rest of Godfather 3 is really good. It's just you can't get past it.
Such bad acting. By the way, we were talking earlier, the Goonies water slide not becoming a theme park attraction. Huge miss. 2 other huge misses from movies and or cartoons. One would be the pod races from episode 1. How there was never a pod race ride is beyond me. And then the other would be, I don't know if you guys watched the Gummy Bears growing up. Gummy Bears was the best. But when they would go into their tunnels in those like Falcon roller coaster things, how was that never a ride? Those things were unbelievable. They had loops. They had it all.
Yeah, they really did. They did have it all. All right, final hour of the program up next. We continue our camp tour in Philly, where I think it's going to be a little rocky. We will get to that. You'll hear from Chris Sims on his Unbuttoned contest. Unbuttoned podcast, rather, coming up as well. Interesting conversation of that we're going to play for you guys. It's all coming up next in the final hour. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau Bishop here for my friends at Weather Seal Home Services. Are you having problems with your roof? Give them a call. Call Weather Seal now. Get a beautiful new roof. You can get done in a week. It's $1 down, free gutters during the Weather Seal Spring Roofing Sale. At Weather Seal, you can also get up to 7 years, 0 interest with approved credit, reducing your monthly payment. Trust in Weather Seal to do the job right for the best price and the lowest monthly payments. It's as simple as that. Don't call anyone else. Call them today at 877-351-SEAL. That's 877-351-SEAL. Or go to weathersealhomeservices.com. We're having a little fun at Chris Sims' expense yesterday with his quarterback rankings. He brought his dad, Phil Sims, on his Unbuttoned podcast, had a little conversation about our quarterback, Baker Mayfield, the comparisons with Joe Burrow, and Baker's ranking. Let's go ahead and have a listen.
Mayfield,
you're down.
Eric Carr, 14, Matt Ryan, 15, Kirk Cousins, 16. Like, out of those four, just pick whatever one. What one you want to talk about? Which one excites you? Which is the one that bothers you with the negative talk? Whatever. Just go ahead.
Baker Mayfield's real.
Yeah.
I think that I have no doubts about him. He's going to be scrutinized more than ever because now he's got more, and we're going to, he's got to get all these things done or whatever. People still can't get over probably the fact that he turned things around so much last year. Yes, coaching, that had something to do with it, but also I think he came to the realization that I have to, straighten myself out, which I think he did personally, physically.
Right.
And you've heard me say these, Christopher. We always talk about this stuff, when it comes to he's making the list. Hey, look, Baker Mayfield is athletic. He's quick. Great feel in the pocket.
Yes.
Moves around.
Right.
It's not about all just boot passes and play action. He dropped back at the end of the year in many games and single-handedly won the games for the Cleveland Browns by throwing strikes.
Yeah.
And I mean really letting it go.
Right.
And just threw the ball in between defenders. I think he thought he was Brett Favre or something.
Yeah.
But he had great control of the football and threw it with tremendous power. And the year before, the team was a mess.
Yep. He
And
was
so
reaching back, throwing the ball, feet were everywhere. Right.
Couldn't throw it hard enough. I mean, I was
Right.
like, damn, Baker,
Yeah.
what? And just striding like he was 6'8".
Right.
And so when you do that, when you try to overthrow, as you know, and I know, son, you're going to miss high a lot. And that's what he did. And he fixed all that. And physically, I thought he was tremendous. He can be a pocket quarterback. And, of course, he's quick enough and fast enough, all those things, to make all those plays as we talk about off schedule.
Yeah, that to me is the thing. And sorry to cut you off, but like I said a lot when I broke him down. I said a lot of the things you just said, and I said the one thing that really jumped off the screen. You already mentioned it, the high degree of difficulty of throws. Oh wait, there's a guy open 25 yards down the field by half an inch. Screw it, I'll throw it in there. Bullseye, bam. Yeah. That was great. And I said this phrase, and just tell me I said he's not a great runner, but he's a great mover and hopper. That's the thing when I went back and watched him. Just so many plays of, like you said, it's a bootleg. Oh, the guy on the edge was free. He makes the guy miss and then sets up and throws a dime down the field. Or he's in the pocket and there is pressure and he shakes and moves and hops around and gets his feet back and then throws a rifle down the field. That's the thing that really jumped out to me about his game from last year.
Yes, he can reset quickly.
Yeah,
his
right.
first move is very quick. I'd like to hear your thought when you hear this about Baker Mayfield. Do you kind of go, yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the whatever. What are your thoughts on when we talk about Baker Mayfield?
It's always hard, I feel like, for number one overall picks, especially unexpected ones, when they don't start with setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard. We all make our initial opinions of a player, and then it's really hard for us to move off of it.
Right.
And I feel like that's what happened with Baker Mayfield. And you were talking about it at the end of last year, and you're like, look at Baker Mayfield. He is playing at a very high level. And I do the podcast with you all the time, and it was hard for me to even believe that.
Right.
Just because the story almost had been written on Baker Mayfield is that he is a 20-ish quarterback and never will be able to carry his team to victory.
You said something that is so true, and it drives me crazy, and I know it does my son. Oh, the first narrative. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Well, it's amazing. We draw this conclusion and thought that we just can't get off of and can't change our mind, even though we're presented with facts, more facts. Oh, more facts here, a season of facts. But we can't get off of it. And I still hear it And, you know, I'm a big watcher of TV as I work during the days or whatever, and people are still talking about narratives from 3 years ago about people. And I just go, oh, my God, when are we going to get off of it? And just, I don't know what it is. Oh, their first thought, well, I can't be wrong. I don't know what it is, but it's amazing. Do I change my opinion? All the time?
Yeah.
Because when I get more facts, I change what I think and get more information. But I'm glad you said it, because I think it still permeates through all of the media, writers, and especially TV personalities that talk and blather and say nothing because they're still going off the thought of 3 years ago.
Well, it makes it easy, right? We don't need to think it. We can just go off of memorization. So one last thing on Baker, because I think they got two good quarterbacks in Ohio moving forward, franchise quarterbacks, in Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. And I saw a discussion on this somewhere, and they asked the question, all right, who would you rather have moving forward? Now, Chris is doing this list, Chris, and I'll start with you. You're doing it for this year, and you have Baker Mayfield ahead of Joe Burrow. But if you're thinking 5 years down the road, who would you want to start a franchise with of these two Ohio quarterbacks?
Oh my gosh, that is a really good question. It's nitpicky. You know, Burrow's as much as I love Baker's movement, right, and the hopping around and all that. Burrow's a freaking magician with that stuff. Like, I mean, he's as slippery as a dude as I've ever seen in the pocket. Yeah. He really is. So that's where he is fascinating. He's got maybe a little bit better feel as a passer, in my opinion, as an all-around passer, but I don't think he can make as many game-changing throws as Baker Mayfield can. Baker Mayfield can make explosive plays with the talent of his right arm. That's something with Joe Burrow that I still need to see a little bit more evidence to say he can do that. Damn. They both bring an edge to the team and leadership and things I like that way. All right, I'm going to give Joe Burrow the edge just by a slight hair, but I don't feel real comfortable by that. I think my father's going to say the other way around. I don't know. What are you going to say, Dad?
What are you? A mind reader. Yes. I'm taking Baker. You know, Joe Burrow is never going to turn into that throw that you talked about to make these screaming dynamic throws in a game.
Right.
Which, you know, again, I love, you know, bitching and moaning. Arm strength is overrated. My aching ass, it's overrated. It shows itself in football games all year, every game, all the time. And, you know, Joe Burrow's motion and the way he plays, it is about rhythm, about the fact that he is a much better athlete than people can see. It's just like you said, very slippery, subtle. We just don't realize what he's doing. But I think the fact that Baker, I think, is a little quicker, maybe, whatever, but his arm is what would make the difference for me. So 5 years from now, if I said, okay, I'm a bet on Baker Mayfield. I bet on both. But I like Baker Mayfield's overall talent to make big plays with his arm, where the league gives you lots of opportunities, especially with wide receivers now. And I'll
30
about both of them.
Yeah.
When they walk in the room at their complexes, everybody knows they're the man.
Right.
And I think that's really important. And I had a coach talk to me about Cincinnati and said, Joe Burrow, without question, not even close, last year was the leader of their team, and he is number one, and we don't even have a two. He's such a dynamic force in his personality and how he leads people and how he acts, and people follow his direction. So that's pretty cool.
You're up.
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of differences between the two players, obviously, but so many similarities in their makeup and who they are as people, ultra-competitive, great athletes. Both took about the hardest route you could take on transfer. I mean, Baker went to Oklahoma, where they had an entrenched quarterback who just played in the BCS Bowl game and unseated him. Burrow goes to LSU, where there's next to no tradition of quarterback development, and goes there and puts them on his shoulders. Both end up being number one picks. Both end up in Ohio. Both end up with organizations that have been looking for franchise quarterbacks. I mean, there's so many parallels, and we're lucky that they're both in the state. We're lucky we got our guy, but they're lucky they have theirs.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to see them duke it out for a long time here in the AFC North because I was very impressed with Burrow, and how could you not be impressed with Baker Mayfield? And I like Phil Simms really standing up for our guy. and talking about his arm strength. And I think that's one of the things that is very much overlooked. Baker's got a cannon. He's an absolute hose. And, his accuracy, second half of the year, was as good as anybody in the NFL. So when you can combine the arm strength to make any throw from any platform and the accuracy, you have a chance to be very, very special. And I thought one of the things that they both talked about without coming out and saying it directly was the progress in his footwork from 19 to 20 is stunning. Stunning. And I would even say the progress in his footwork from 19 in the first 6 weeks of 20 to week 7 and the rest of the year, stunning. And he deserves all the credit in the world for working hard. I think he was coached hard by Alex Van Pelt, who told us, he took that coaching well. But that metamorphosis, it all starts with your base. And that metamorphosis, his ability to hop in the pocket, reset his feet, and throw a laser. I think that's exactly how Chris Sims described it. Yeah, that makes him a special player and a special quarterback for our team. And I know they're getting that good work down in Austin. I'll tell you what, I'm starting to get excited. We're, Saturday, Sunday, 2 great days. They're going to be glorious. Monday, okay, fine. Tuesday, they're back. They'll probably be back in town on Monday. But then Tuesday, we're going to get to see, for the first time ever,
going to be fun,
this roster out on the field together. I mean, I'm hoping.
Going to be fun.
I'm expecting to see everybody. I'm talking, you want to see them all. Clowney, Miles, Bake.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Be fun. Yeah, I'm with you. Going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully that's the way that it turns out. We continue our OTA camp tour coming up next in Philly with the Eagles. Dave Spadaro going to join us at the bottom of the hour for some perspective as well. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. If your game plan for the season includes buying or selling a home, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/GoBrowns today. Philadelphia Eagles will get our attention today. Coolest Philadelphia Eagle of all time, Segura?
Well, on a personal level, there's no doubt it's Brian Westbrook. I love that dude.
Yeah.
He's great. But probably the coolest of all time, I mean, does Reggie White count as an Eagle? Or
Yeah, for sure.
probably Reggie
for sure.
White.
I mean,
and then
yeah.
initial peak
Randall
Cunningham was
unbelievable.
beyond.
It was one of the coolest things in sports, too, was when Michael Vick sat for a year, came in that game. I want to say it was against Washington, and went bombs over Baghdad, threw the ball like 90 yards the first time he threw it to I want to say it was Deshaun Jackson.
Hold on. That was a Monday night game, was it not?
Yeah.
And Jackson ended up having absurd stats.
Like crazy.
Absurd.
But it was like, he hadn't seen Mike. He'd been in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really cool. And he also wore those really cool throwback uniforms that year, the Kelly green and silver.
I love those.
Beautiful. Uniform grade.
They're fine.
They're stuck in these.
I don't like
They're
them
stuck
that
in
much.
these. They have this. They have a color. They have the Kelly green ones, which are
Which
great.
I wish they did.
But
when
Jeffrey Lurie likes these. They've won in these, so now they're stuck in them.
When
it's
my
the same thing
favorite-
that's happened with the Patriots,
Yeah.
the Broncos. They're stuck.
When my favorite uniform in your collection is the black, when it's not an inherent color in yours, it means I don't really love your uniforms.
Yeah. What do you give me a real quick Philly? I've never been to Philly. What am I missing?
Philly's a great town. It's really cool.
Is it?
I've
I've
been
never
there. We opened a season there one year. I've been there for the Royal Rumble. Took the kids there. Yeah, you get to go see Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
There are great restaurants all around. What's the name? There's a square. I can't think off the top of my head the name of a square that's like a very nice area. I really enjoyed Philly. I thought it was a great city, and passionate sports fans.
Sure.
Passionate.
Yeah. Just for whatever reason, is not a place that I've ever been. There's never been a sporting event that's taken me there.
Yeah.
Not in my travels. It's just a hole in the resume. I've never been to Philly. All right, little fact or fiction with Gibbe. Joe Flacco will end up throwing for more yards this season than Jalen Hurts. That's a pretty big fiction.
God, I hope not.
Gibbe. Yeah,
I hope
can't see
not.
any. Hurts will play.
Unless Hurts gets hurt.
Yeah. And even then, what do you need to see from Flacco at this point?
How's he?
Fact or fiction?
Stunned he's still in the league. Literally, I'm stunned.
Yeah.
I'm stunned that he cares at this
Devontae
point.
Smith. What's that?
I'm surprised he cares at this point. He's won a Super Bowl. Yeah, you get paid pretty well to be a backup quarterback, but I don't know. Where was he last? Wasn't he a backup in Denver
I don't know that
last year?
Yeah, I don't know that there's been anybody who benefited more from a Super Bowl win, the timing, than Joe Flacco.
Of course. He played well in that run.
Yeah, he did. But I remember him. I was at that one. I think you were too in New Orleans. I remember Deion Sanders talking to him. You could hear it in this overhead in the stadium saying time to get paid. Deion was on the NFL Network show, and he said, look into the TV and tell Bisciotti it's time to pay you. And they ended up doing it, and it was nonsense. He never should have.
He bet on himself, right? He could have signed a contract, didn't.
Yeah, he did.
And it worked out famously.
Really got paid. Devontae Smith, best skill guy in the Eagles. I think he's going to be really good. He's a really good player.
I think he's going to be really good too. But if you said right now, put your flag on somebody who's going to be at the end of this year a Pro Bowler from their skill position, I'll go Dallas Goedert because I don't think Zach Ertz will be there anymore, and I think Dallas Goedert's ready to really explode. Write that down for fantasy.
Gibby wants to know fact or fiction, and this was one for you. The Rocky statue should be the number one attraction to see when visiting Philly.
Fiction. They signed the Declaration of Independence.
Big. It's a big moment.
It's great, man. Go get in line with everybody else.
I don't even know what that means, but I was there.
Big.
My kids are there. The desks are there. It is.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
All right.
Liberty
Just
Bell.
saying.
Can you guys
Ben
help
Franklin.
me with this next one? So Philly cheesesteaks traditionally come with cheese whiz.
In
correct?
Philly, yes.
In Philly. Why is it that everywhere else that I get a cheesesteak, it's provolone?
Because it's better.
But in Philly, it is?
I don't eat a lot of cheesesteaks, but a good cheesesteak to me is actually substantive steak, not wafer-thin sheets of meat. And then it's got some peppers, some onions, some mushrooms, maybe, and a little cheese on it. That's a Zegura cheesesteak.
All right. So Gibby says Pat's King of Steaks or Geno's. They're right across the street, as we all know. So Pat's goes with Cheese Whiz. Gino's goes with provolone.
I didn't know you could get provolone in Philly.
Yes.
I didn't either.
I did not know that.
Yes. So
I'd have to try them. You'd want to try them in the same day.
Yes.
Give me a quarter bite of each. And
I tried to do that, and they looked at me like I had 3 heads. I was forced to the back of the line to reorder. I'm not kidding either. Like, you get in line at these places, they're both like soup Nazi-ish. Like, if you screw up the order, they don't. They just go back to the back of the line. Figure out how to do it right.
Yeah.
There are big signs everywhere on both places that say how to order, and I did not adhere because I never do.
Well, you're like Elaine with the soup Nazi. You're trying to play games. You don't have any time for that. All right, finally, you're going to go to dinner in Philly. You're going to pick 2 of the following celebs, and we're only getting guys who are alive from Philly to go to dinner with. So our choices are Will Smith, Kevin Bacon, Kevin Hart, Richard Gere, Bob Saget, Eddie George, Kevin Stefanski, officially listed as a Philly celeb. I feel like Kevin Bacon would be a good hang.
Yeah, great stories. I mean, from this list here, I wouldn't mind popping a couple bottles of wine and saying, Richard Gere, peel back that curtain from the peak of your powers. Let's just go ahead and
tell me a little bit about what was going on in the 80s, brother.
What was going on with peak
Richard
Gere?
On some of that?
I think he had a pretty good run. So I'm going to go Richard Gere. And then I think Bacon would be good. Kevin Hart or Saget, both hilarious. Saget probably more from from the youth, and then when you think about Danny Tanner getting into some hardcore comedy, Saget could be interesting.
With Gere might be fun.
I think so. That's maybe the combo. Yeah.
That might be the combo. It'd be hard to leave Bacon out because I feel like his
stories
would be
along?
proficient.
Let's just be footloose and fancy free.
You'd like to.
See Again, what I
did there, Gibbe?
Yeah.
2. There's only 2. But no, that's okay. Let's go ahead and make our own rules. We're going to make our own rules.
So you're saying Beau and I are going to get dinner together, and we have 2 other seats at our 4-top?
Sure.
Or you're saying I'm going by myself and I'm limited to a 3-top when there'd be an empty seat because there's no such thing as a 3-top, so there'd be a 4-top.
3-top gives you more leg room. What if you're in a tight restaurant? Gives you more leg room.
I feel like in a dream dinner scenario, you get the table you want.
That's right. It's right. We're in the corner.
I'm really starting to dislike both of you today. That's kind of where I'm at.
I like that. That means
week's
we're winning.
Almost over.
Yeah.
Goonies came
Dave
out 6 days ago.
going to join us next. He's the host of Eagles Insider Podcast. He does it for the team. He's one of the best. He joins us up next. We'll get his perspective on these things. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Are you on the injured list? We can help get you back in the game. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO today for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns as we continue our OTA team camp tour in Philly. Dave Spadaro joining us, analyst, insider, host of the Eagles Insider podcast for the team and a great friend of the program. Dave, thank you so much for your time. I want to get into your team for a second, but I will acknowledge I've never been to Philly. And in the segment leading into you, we do all sorts of things. Favorite Eagle of all time, best team, stadium grade, all of these things. And one of the questions we were talking about, of course, was the Philly cheesesteak. And the one question I had is, and I was always under the assumption that if you were going to get an authentic one in Philly, Cheese Whiz was part of it. And I'm coming to find out that perhaps that was wrong. You are very familiar. If I was to get an authentic Philly cheesesteak, what would I get? Where would I go? What would you recommend?
Well, every cheesesteak in Philadelphia, I would say, is authentic. I've never had one with whiz. I mean, I know people do.
Wow.
I find whiz disgusting.
Same.
So I get American cheese, sometimes provolone cheese. And you really can't go wrong at a lot of places. There used to be this little truck stand, little food stand outside the Palestra that I always, at the University of Pennsylvania. The Palestra is this hallowed college basketball venue, and I used to love the cheesesteaks there. I think they're out of business. I haven't been there for a long time. So if you really can't go wrong, Pats and Geno's get all the attention, but probably like a place. I like this little place called Vincent's. It's a dumpy little place, and it's absolutely delicious. It's kind of in the hood, but it's really good cheesesteaks. But you really can't go wrong because it's about the bread, it's about the meat, it's about the fried onions, and it's about the American cheese for me.
I love it. I love that.
I love that.
What a great way to kick this off here. And, Dave, pleasure talking with you again, as always. Just wanted to say, before we even get into the 2021 Eagles, now that you've had a time to kind of sit back, the coaching changes made, to just think about everything that happened from February 4th, 2018, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, to where we are today, and how did this happen and kind of unravel, I guess, so quickly and I felt surprisingly, I don't think anybody would have thought we would be talking about a new head coach in 2021, just 2 years later from that point.
Yeah, I mean, shocking. Because even going into the 2018 preseason, the training camp period, everybody around the league was talking about what a great roster the Eagles had.
Yeah.
And they have been plagued by drafts that have not been productive the last couple of years. The injury factor has been significant. The play quarterback obviously was a huge regression for the Eagles in 2020. And just, it's just a reminder, all those Cleveland Brown fans, and I've got some in Philadelphia who went into the draft. I was like, so what do you think you really want in the draft? What do you need? He goes, I don't really think we need anything. Well, let me tell you something. In the NFL, you always need something.
Right. Yes.
And I'm happy for all the Browns fans. It's been a long time since you had a really good football team. You always have to build the roster. You never, ever relax because, as I've been witness, it changes very, very quickly.
Yeah, it sure does. And so now you wake up with year two for Jalen Hurts, and what is the organizational view of Jalen? Do they view him as, hey, let's see what this is? Do they view him as, hey, we got a guy here? What is kind of the thinking in the organization about Hurts?
With a new coaching staff, I think that it's kind of a, hey, let's see what we have here. 4 games, 4 starts, and a quarter plus last year of action, showed some good things, very talented, play behind a wreck of an offensive line. And we'll see. I think Nick Sirianni, the new head coach, I think his offense is a get the ball out quickly, be accurate, kind of a very pure West Coast offense. That's not what Jalen has run in his career.
Right.
So let's see how the Eagles blend in his multi-dimensional skills. And, look, this is a team that's got potentially 3 draft picks next year in the first round. So I think they want to give Jalen a good look, and let's see what they've got. Now the offensive line is healthy. They've bolstered the wide receiver core with Devontae Smith. Miles Sanders is a quality running back. They're strong at tight end. So, on paper, the Eagles have a lot of pieces to play with in this offense, and it all will come down to the quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. In terms of skill position talent, Miles Sanders and some other running backs in the backfield, and Jalen Reagor, former first-round pick, Devontae Smith this year, Travis Fulgham, who played so well last year, and then you talk about the tight ends. Goddard, and I don't want to say Ertz at this point. What do you think happens there with Zach Ertz, who had been prior to last year when he was beset by injury, but had been, a staple and an elite tight end? Is this Goddard's year to really take a big step, do you think, as the guy?
Well, it's really hard to answer that question because, Ertz is still on the roster, and I have been asked this question since before March, before free agency began. Where is Zach Ertz going to end up? And is there a market there? Are the Eagles just going to cut him and let him go for nothing? He's still a good football player. So I'm going to go with the idea that somehow the Eagles are going to work it out, and Zach will play the final year of his contract here, and the Eagles will have Goddard and Ertz in a really strong twosome at the tight end position. Otherwise, I don't know. Look, they think Goddard is extremely talented, big, strong, runs great, excellent after the catch, excellent football player, just terrific. Injuries with him last year, though, as well, bad ankle injury. But at his best, I think Dallas Goedert can be a true number one tight end option. But again, I'm going with the idea, and I may be wrong. We'll see what happens. Things change quickly. Trades are made or roster moves are decided. But I'm going with Zach Ertz at this moment. At this very instant, I'm going with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert as a 1-2 combination, and they'll add a veteran third tight end along the way.
Folks, that's a pay attention to the scores moment. Dave is rather plugged in. He also might be doing a good service for his employer. They're telling the Bills they might need to up their price if they want to bring Zach Ertz to Buffalo with Josh Allen. I like that, Dave. Well played.
Zach Ertz, when he's healthy, look, we all know he's a really good player.
Yes.
Didn't play well last year, banged up, contract on his mind. Just a symptomatic of kind of, the way it went for the Eagles. Everything that could go wrong basically went wrong for them in 2020.
It certainly did, and that led to the coaching change. Doug Peterson out, Nick Sirianni in. This is a guy who, when he's hired, I'll be candid with you. I was like, who? They've hired who? And then you see how it's gone. You're in the building. You've probably gotten to talk to him, got to know him a little bit. What can you tell us about him? We were in a position a year ago when he hired Kevin Stefanski. You meet him the first time, you go, wow, I get it. This makes sense. What did you make out of? What have you made out of Nick in his early tenure here?
That's a great story because I felt the same way when I first met Nick. I did a couple of Zoom events with him. Then when I met him in person, it was the night of the first round of the 2021 NFL draft, and we went over to the stadium and we said hello to all the fans at the draft party, and I was like bigger and like more physical than I thought. Like just a big guy, tons of energy, really commanding. Totally understand why he knocked it out of the ballpark in the interview process. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's hired an energetic group of young coaches around him. I think he's going to hold this football team accountable. And I think he's also got a lot to learn. He's never been a head coach. So I've been around here long enough to go through all of the Ray Rhodes in his first tenure as a head coach, and then Andy Reid in his first tenure as an NFL head coach, and Chip Kelly is his first NFL head coaching job. And so Nick is the same way, and that's what the Eagles have kind of based their head coaches on. They want to mold them. They want them for the long term, and I think Nick has a chance to grow into the job. He's been all about, setting creating a relationship and connection with the players, holding them accountable, making sure that, they understand that there's competition everywhere. So it's been really interesting, a whole new energy in the building. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in training camp in the preseason that stands him out from Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl 3 years ago, and then since that time, it's really been a struggle for the Philadelphia Eagles. So a new era begins, and frankly, probably don't know enough about him or Jalen Hurts to give you a really good sense of where this football team is going.
And that's the question, and there's still some of the names that still on this defense. Some of the veterans, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham still on this defense, Derek Barnett drafted in that year, 17 in the first round. So there's some of the kind of staples and holdovers from a previous era on the defense. What are you kind of making of what this team hopes to be? You said you really don't know, and I think offensively, yeah, but defensively, do they feel that, with Darius Slay and bringing in Anthony Harris, that this is a team that could get back to being a very good defense in an NFC East that's got, certainly a very good Dallas offense, a great defense with the Washington football team, and then a Giants team that's got skill players all over the place, but we just don't know yet about their quarterback?
Yeah, it's been interesting. The defense, I see it as kind of a defense that's transitioning, trying to get younger, but at the same time bringing in veterans like Anthony Harris at safety, Eric Wilson at linebacker, Ryan Kerrigan to be a spot pass rusher and to add leadership and trying to get some young players. There's really no young, dynamic, star on the rise defensive players that I see on this defense. So they don't have a starting second cornerback at this point. That is when you're going against a Dallas trio of weapons in the passing game that they have and the weapons that the Giants have. And, even Washington with McLaurin, they're very dangerous. The Eagles just don't have that second cornerback. So I still think they'll be active between now and training camp trying to add another cornerback. But, by and large, they want to take the football away. I really think this year it's about establishing a culture. It's about finding out who's going to be in that culture, who's going to be in that program, and then bringing in players to fit what Jonathan Gannon wants to do on the defensive side. Potentially, the names look good. Brandon Graham, but he's been around since 2010.
Yeah.
Fletcher Cox has been around since 2013. I mean, there's a lot of age on this defense. The scheme is going to be aggressive. They want to take the football away. They want to be physical. They want to be intense. They want to be smart. Sounds great, but you need the horses to do it. And this group of horses showed its age a bit last year, so they need some young players to emerge from like last year's draft. Davion Taylor, a linebacker they took in the third round. Some of their younger quarterbacks that they've got working in here to step up. But right now, I just don't see a second cornerback in a league where you really need 4 or 5 to compete against the best passing offenses in the league.
Yeah, and you mentioned Washington to McLaurin. They bring in Curtis Samuel as well. They got Diami Brown who can fly in the draft. So, there could be the ball with Fitzmagic, the ball up in the air, certainly in Washington. So when you kind of make sense of everything that you kind of laid out, you mentioned all the draft picks next year. Is the thinking from Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, okay, 2021, if something great happens, great, but we're looking more at a 2 or 3 year horizon, which is probably makes sense, but better than we do. In Philly, the fans can be a little bit tough and don't necessarily have the patience for such things.
Yeah, I mean, look, yes, they want to compete this year. Look, is the NFC East great? No. I think the offensive line will give them a chance to really put some points up offensively. I think the defensive line gives them a chance to compete defensively. But there's just so many unknowns. I go into this with open eyes as a team that has been described by the owner as in transition, but at the same time they want to compete. Is it possible to do both in the NFL? To me, that's kind of the overarching theme of the 2021 Philadelphia Eagles.
And Dave, real quick here, I'll get you out of here on this one. Give me, as you see it right now, power rank the NFC East. Because when we look at them, certain teams have certain things they're good at, but I don't see a complete team. What do you see?
You know what's interesting about the NFC East? No repeat winner since the Eagles did it in 2003 and 2004.
Wow.
So no matter what you think right now, it generally gets reversed. But Dallas has the most talent, certainly on offense. The Giants showed a lot under Joe Judge, the new head coach, last season. How far can Fitzmagic carry the Washington football team? I don't know. And that defense is just great, especially that front seven.
Yeah.
And then there's the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, so the Eagles' offensive line, to me, is a really, really strong point. I'm with the Eagles, so I'm going to power rank the Eagles number one. But realistically, I just think you throw this division into a bag, you shake it up, you see who's healthy, you see who wins in December when the division opponents are playing each other. And hopefully this division shows a lot more than it did last year when it was historically one of the worst divisions in the history of football. So I just think it's a division with a lot of flaws for each team. So it's just so hard to categorize. But I guess from just a talent standpoint, I would say the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cowboys always seem to screw something up along the way.
Yes, they do. Dave, you're the best, man. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.
You too.
You too. Real quick, rapid fire. Best movie filmed in or set in Philadelphia?
Rocky?
Incorrect. Trading Places. Come on. Trading Places. Come on.
Great film, no doubt.
Come on.
No doubt. Okay. All right.
Come on.
Can I visit the Trading Places statue when I'm there next?
You should. You should. There should be a Billy Ray Valentine.
Might be better than the cracked bell.
Statue.
You want to hang out there for a little bit?
Yeah.
Cracked bell.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
A little Billy Ray Valentine. Come on. That's it. That should be the statue. Forget Rocky.
Looking good.
It's fine. Feeling good.
Feeling
So
good,
good,
Lewis.
So good.
Let's go.
The best.
Looking
You watch
good,
it right
baby.
now.
Oh, yeah, I
it
want
holds
to.
up. So good.
I'd like to watch that while
It's
going
so
on
good.
a water slide.
Well, now you're talking. Still so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Got on the Keep It Fun Ohio Lottery poll.
Yeah.
We had a lot of food discussion today, by the way.
I'm
I
hungry.
usually stay off the Twitter, and I saw a bunch of recommendations for Philly cheesesteaks and how to do it. So the problem is, like, and I saw somebody say a do-it-yourself cheesesteak, but, like, I would just cook the ribeye.
Yeah, right.
Like you said,
I'm not
have
gonna
your butcher razor thin cut a ribeye. I'm thinking I would just eat the ribeye instead of doing all the stuff around it. You know,
See-
you want to put onions and mushrooms and stuff around a ribeye? Great,
See,
fine.
I have an outdoor
But I don't know
griddle.
that I'd put it on a sandwich.
I have a 36-inch
and
outdoor griddle.
put cheese.
I do cheesesteaks.
No, that's
Love
nice.
It. It is good.
Yeah.
Today's Ohio
With
Lottery
ribeye,
Keep It
though?
Fun poll. You can have
Oh.
one pizza for the rest of your life. Which one are you choosing? New York Italian style, your winner. 57%.
Oh,
Everything else, 43%.
This should have been
sad.
100-0.
Should have been
No.
98. Yeah, there's.
So you're
So,
saying
Gibby, you're
if
one of the people who prefer the other?
I just think, like,
No, this is the rest of
I
your
don't
life.
I can't fold my pizza.
This
I
is
gotta
the
be
rest
able to
of your
eat
life.
my pizza just normal.
But how can you eat it Chicago style normal?
I have eaten.
You need a fork.
No,
and a
I
knife.
have eaten a Chicago style with my hands.
Like
you
this?
know what? Yeah, you know how? On a plane ride home from Chicago at like 2:00 in the morning.
I bet you have, Gibbe.
Well, that just.
I bet you have.
Boy, do I wish that was on the stream.
I saw it, and I liked it.
You know, you could say you could
Yeah,
say anything. You could say the most innocuous comment, and if you follow it with, "Oh, I bet you did,"
I bet you did.
There's a tone to it.
There is
90.
Boy,
you know, you really can say anything. "Oh, I bet you did," and it comes across like, "Geez, what an illicit behavior."
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Suggestive.
I think the two of you are going to be
Very.
together next week.
Let's go.
Oh boy, can you imagine the excitement?
Get ready.
Oh boy,
palpable.
I
love your oh boy.
I bet.
You have a great oh boy.
That's my new. Oh boy, what a real treat that'll
It
be.
sounds like you could be
Oh,
in
boy.
the 1920s, like 1920s America.
That's what I wanted. That's the way I envision.
Yeah.
I envision like a corncob pipe, one of those little hats,
Yeah.
suspenders. Yeah, and I'll do it to like my oldest son. I'll do it to Peyton. I'll be like, "Oh boy, Peyton, so sad when things don't go his way.
Man.
So sad."
You got to work in a man,
Yeah,
see?
yeah.
Man, see?
Work that in a
It's because
little
you missed,
bit.
see? Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's so sad. Oh boy, it's so sad. That's
Boy.
going to be a real treat, though. I
Oh,
look forward to
yeah,
that.
I'm
It's going to be
looking
fun.
forward to that, too.
Enjoy your weekend, kids.
Yes.
We'll be back
Mini
on
camp
Monday.
week.
And
Let's go.
Mini camp. That's going to be a lot of fun to see everybody running around. Jarvis this weekend, his softball tournament, right? That'll be fun. Sold out, but that's going to be awesome. So you got that to look forward to, which is nice.